PortalSmith FormGen established a straightforward baseline for Node-RED developers. Feed the system a JSON schema, and it immediately outputs a functional front-end interface. This removed the need to hand-code HTML or manually wire up complex front-end frameworks just to capture user input. By defining the form's metadata in JSON, the system generates modular sections that handle their own field validation, dynamic lookups, and result tables. While this solved the immediate interface problem, it also highlighted a structural limitation. A standalone form is a tool, but it isn't yet an application. When a user clicks Submit on an isolated page, they often hit a rigid operational boundary. The data transmits, but the user has no clear path to the next step. Zooming out reveals the architectural missing links. These standalone forms lack a persistent user session, a memory to recall past actions, or lateral navigation to move between different administrative tools. There is also the issue of security. Deploying isolated endpoints without a centralized authentication gate allows anyone on the network to reach the interface and interact with the backend. Capturing data is an incomplete success if the system lacks the underlying stateful architecture required to manage a user's entire operational lifecycle. To bridge this gap, the platform shifted away from generating floating forms and toward orchestrating cohesive single-page applications. An SPA dynamically rewrites the current page with new data from the server, rather than loading entirely new pages for every single click. The portal builder acts as the central orchestration center. Developers manage configurations through collapsed categories, defining a consistent framework for themes and sidebar navigation. This interface also centralizes endpoint management, establishing unified paths for actions across the entire portal. This shell architecture turns a set of individual tasks into a single, navigable digital workspace. Navigation only works if the platform has a way to track what is happening inside the interface, requiring an underlying memory. This memory is powered by a dual-state SQLite engine, a lightweight, serverless relational database that stores data in a simple file on the disk. At the design level, the shared registry database acts as a central library, storing reusable schemas. But the live environment requires isolation. The system generates a distinct session database to manage every specific runtime instance you deploy. This session engine is what tracks persistent user profiles, remembers your last viewed page, and maintains a chronological log of every action taken. Separating the design blueprint from the live session memory allows the platform to manage state without compromising the stability of the global configuration. The final requirement for a stateful application is controlling who can enter the environment. The architecture intercepts users at the homepage. Until verified, the portal displays this authorized use only banner and a login prompt, blocking the underlying logic. When a user authenticates, a pre-auth endpoint verifies their identity and establishes a persistent token within the runtime session database. Only after successful verification does the interface unlock. The portal recognizes the user's specific profile in the header and reveals the sidebar navigation. Actions are no longer anonymous. Every submission and query within the system is now permanently tied to a verified, authenticated user identity. In an enterprise environment, a single form might be required to pull or push thousands of records during a single session. You see this in complex operations like the bulk IP lookup form. A single subnet entry triggers a dynamic lookup to the Node-RED backend, filling surrounding text areas with data without refreshing the page. This creates a significant technical risk. If a backend query returns 10,000 rows at once, it can easily exceed the browser's memory limits and crash the user's interface. The platform handles this through server-side pagination. By using offset and limit metadata, the server slices the massive dataset into small, uniform blocks that are transmitted only when the user needs to view that specific page. Managing the data flow in these manageable slices allows the portal to maintain a low memory footprint, even when interacting with datasets containing millions of rows. The platform manages this underlying complexity through a deployment process designed to prevent the creation of a fragile web of nodes. Before committing any changes, developers use these 3 preview windows to inspect the portal manifest and the exact JSON payloads that will be written to the disk. Once verified, the system generates a unified 3-file bundle, HTML, JavaScript, and the schema map, and writes it directly to the uibuilder instance. With centralized orchestration, isolated session memory, and native security, the platform provides the infrastructure needed to deploy secure, stateful workflows directly within the Node-RED ecosystem.